Mm. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Hi, Lala. I hope you're feeling better. We're going to do some scrappy flowers. So everybody's brought their fabric scraps. And I'm going to do mine a little bit different because I want to keep the size about the same on all of my flowers. So what I've done is I have an old pillowcase that I've torn into some pieces. And I'm using it kind of as a base to hold things together. Let's do something real quick here. We'll get rid of the zoomies in and out. And I've got to keep an eye on the dog and the sky because the sky's looking ugly, but the dog needs to be in the yard until she does her business. If for anybody that doesn't know, our dog is like ancient. She's a Cocker Spaniel and she's like 15 years old. And yeah, and she can't see, she can't hear, she can still smell. And she's a typical, well, I won't say it, but she's not the brightest dog in the crate. And yeah. And when it starts raining, she gets confused because of her age and she does circles out in the yard and just, it's not a good thing. Anyway, we're going to do these scrappy flowers. So a piece of base fabric is what I used to put this down, and that's the little white you see right here. Then I've just put a piece of batting on the back. If you don't have batting, you can use a piece of felt if that's what you have. I just like to sew through the batting because I'm planning to put these flowers down on something and make a picture with them. And what I would like to do is, if anybody else is interested, I'm just going to make a bunch of flowers up and I'll swap with whoever wants to swap. And that way I can make a flower vase on a small quilt. Just make up one of the small quilts. Like I think I still have a quilt here. And I'm just thinking a small quilt like this. This little quilt is, let me tell you what it is. It's about 10 by 11. And so what I'm thinking of is like make a quilt or just have a piece of fabric, and then I'll do a vase of some sort. And then I just want to do flowers on this. It might have to be a little bigger than this. It depends on how many people want to. Well, it's not really a mug rug because it's larger. So I might have to go as big as this one. This one's a big one. These are called mini quilts. And people hang a selection of these on their wall. But this size would be about right. So if I put a vase on here, just pieced a vase on, I could piece it. I can just cut a vase shape out and then do stitching on it. But then I could put everybody's flowers on and embroider stems and that kind of stuff. And I thought it would be a fun swap. So keep that in mind as we're working on these. We could do, you could swap just with me. If you want to swap with several people, you could do that. Now to keep the size about the same size, what I'm doing is I have a regular pint jar lid. You can use the inside diameter like this. That was the inside diameter is how I formed this. If you want it slightly larger, you could use the outside. But if we all kept our flowers about the size of either the inside or the outside, for viewing purposes, I'm going to do the outside. And all I'm doing is I'm setting it on here. And I'm going to draw around it with a pencil. And you're not going to see these pencil lines by the time we're done. All right. Then get you some scraps. Let's see. And on this one, I used 2 different fabrics. So here's a nice piece of that yellow. And It'd be nice if I could find some blue. I'm just digging. Or let's do another yellow, and then the center I'll do in this black. Let me see if I've got another yellow. I'm just digging. This is the rice bag that I did a while back, and that's where I keep some of my smaller scraps. I want a big enough piece that I can cut out several. Oh, this could be cool looking. All right. And I just kind of, I use pinking shears to cut the petals out. So I'm going to wait to cut my circle out for the middle until I get the petals all on. And what I did is I just eyeballed the petals. And you want the petals to be about that wide. So from the center to the edge. And so I just eyeballed them. And if you cut them so they're a little too long, you just shorten them. That one I can just shorten by just snipping off the bottom edge a little bit. And then I lay it down here. And I might overlap my pencil line just a little bit. But I'm going to cut several of these. And we'll play with the position of them once we get them all cut out here. I think I'll do 5 of this one. Hi, Janet Nash. I think a buzzard just flew over. Sorry, it distracted me. The other day, I had the bird of the day came through in my email box, and it said the bird of the day over the weekend was a black vulture. I'm like, awesome. A black vulture is the bird of the day. It's all good. So let me say hi. There's Anne and Kathy and Melanie and Janet and Lala and Mark, and I think that's everybody that I see that's in the screen at this moment in time. And that's eternity. So again, I'm just kind of eyeballing these. All right, so I've got those on there, and I got 5 of those. Now you can build these up. You can put as many petals on them. And I'm just going to put that piece of fabric back in my rice bag. Now let's cut out some 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do 5 of these petals, and how I did this one here is I just kind of tucked this one in between those two, and then I put this one back down, and then I cut another one. I'm going to tuck that in there. And they don't have to be absolutely perfect. If you don't want rounded petals, you could make them have points. The flowers are all up to you. We'll tuck that one in behind there. And then this has to go back in there. I need 2 more. Oh, goodness. And Janet Nash is making a top-down vest that looks real similar to the project I'm working on in crochet. But I haven't worked on that today because I started the cross-stitch project. And oh my goodness, you guys, I am going to have to go and buy a clip-on lamp that has a magnifier, because a 28 count Ada is about to make me go blind. It's really small, and I have to stitch over 2 threads. Oops, I didn't do too good there. But I have started it. I got one part of a flower done, and that's as far as it got, because I was getting tired trying to see. There we go. And then what you do, once you have your petals, if it starts looking like you got too much going on, you can remove a few petals here and there. Now I'm going to just roughly cut a circle out. And then we'll start stitching it down. That's pretty good. Here we go. So that'll be this flower. And then I'm just going to use the pearl cottons that I got in my stash here, that I've actually put in this little bead box. And I'm just going to start stitching this down, and you don't need the circle right away. And what I do is I'm just going to lift these petals up. I'm trying to keep them in order and set them to the side over here. And I'm going to go to the one that's at the farthest back, and I'm going to stitch this one down. And once that's stitched down, then I'll take this one and lay it on top of that one and just work my way around. So now we just need to pick a thread to roughly stitch this down. And I think I used red on this one. This has a lot of orange. It's more of the burnt orange. I think I will use this. So it kind of blends but doesn't. All right. Whoa. So I'm going to pull off some thread here. I want to have enough to go all the way around, but of course, if I don't have it, I can always cut another piece. No big deal. And I'm just going to put this on here with just a simple running stitch, because these are going to be something that I put on a project. In other words, it's not something that's going to go in the laundry. It's an art piece. It'll be an art piece. And I tried to put the gray paper down to kind of tone down my doodle sheet. I guess I need to pull it up. Oh, Carol has some good news. That's good. Thanks for the thumbs up. All right, and I just start at the bottom of the petal and work my way around, and then I put the next petal on. And you don't have to put a ton of stitches in. And if you want to use a different stitch, my base is just a wore out cotton pillowcase that I ripped apart, because it's not anything that and if you used a color fabric, it would just change your edging color. This is what I had. This is what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to do a running stitch. My fingers are a little sore from fixing all of Greg's jeans. He was so tickled this morning to be able to wear his worn-in jeans to work. He was so tickled about that. Scott and I are torn between going and doing something fun this weekend and standing up for what's right. So we don't know where we'll end up this weekend. I know where we need to go. But I learned that up in Traveler's Rest, South Carolina. They have a new art program along Swamp Rabbit Trail. They've installed these large rabbits that local artists have decorated, and you walk the trail and you get to see them. So that sounded interesting. All right, I don't go around the bottom of the petal. I'm just going around the edge, and I end at the back. So I'm going to put this through to the back. And then I'm going to grab my next petal and work my way around, and I'll just set that on top of that. And then I'll just do the same thing. Maybe move it over just a little bit. Oh, might have to put a pin in it with me making it slightly bigger than the last one. We'll see. And we'd also like to go up on Bald Mountain. That's something else. It's up near Caesar Head. It's supposed to be a pretty easy trail to get to. We can't do any aggressive hiking anymore. Scott's legs just won't hold up to it. Not sure mine would. But who knows? Don't know where we might end up this weekend. We just know we need a break from doing the floor. Swamp Rabbit Trail is the name of the trail, and it's a lovely, it's paved. It's a really nice trail. It's for bikes. It's nothing motorized can go on it except wheelchairs. They have it up there to help people stay in shape. It's part of the Greenville area health place. Oh, the sky's getting really hungry. If it starts thundering, I'll go get the dog. I don't know where she is right now. I don't see her. She usually goes up under the shed where I can see her. All right. And I just have this in the frame to make it a little bit easier to hold. Okay, again, I'm going to end at the back. I put my next petal on, and it has to overlap. Okay. If I get all the way around and that flower looks full enough and I don't use all the petals, I'm not going to be heartbroken or upset. I'm just keeping the petals inside the circle so that the flower doesn't grow too huge. And I just like the layering effect I ended up with. And you don't have to do your flowers face on either. You could do like a side view of a flower. You could do a tulip. I would suggest pulling out a flower book and just kind of getting the basic shapes of different flowers and play around. Just try to keep the flowers either the inside diameter of a pint jar or the outside. Or if you have the lid off a spaghetti sauce, you could use that. That way all the flowers are about the same size. Because I think it would be fun to swap the flowers. And look how flat they are. You could put that in an envelope and it wouldn't cost a fortune, and you could mail them anywhere. Now I need to determine how I would attach folks' names. Maybe I would have to take a picture of it, of the flower with the name, and make little stickers to stick on the back of my project. I don't know. Something to think about. All right, I'm going to put that to the back. Oops, I've caught on the thing. That's the bad part of using a hoop. Looks pretty cool on the back too when you do it this way. Then we're going to grab the next petal, which will be a orange dotty. Orange dotty. That one's kind of wide, but that's okay. I'm going to leave it. I'm not worrying how they cover each other here. I just want to keep them inside the circle. That one I probably should have cut a little bit narrower, but most of it's going to be covered anyway. When you start getting more layers, it gets a little bit harder to stitch through without going straight, down and then back up through. I just like to do this because then I don't have to push it back through from the other side. I can just stitch around. I'm going to lose the black piece sticking on a string. Uh-oh. If it gets a little twist in it, it might be time to let the needle spin. Just let it work itself out here. Pull my thread back a little bit. I am probably going to have to get another length of floss on here. And if all you have is DMC floss, use it. Use what you have. Hi, Pam. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Sherry. Welcome, everybody. We hadn't done a stitching project in a little bit. So I thought I would come on and do a stitching project and see if anybody wants to do a swap. And we could, if we all swapped flowers, you would have to make several to end up getting enough to make a bouquet for yourself. But they don't really take all that much time. And I don't mind sitting and doing something like this. I mean, I could make, 10 or 12 of these in no time. If you don't want to hand stitch them, you could do them on your sewing machine. They don't have to be hand stitched. And then you could really put out some flowers if you did it on the machine. And I don't mind machine stitching. All right, I'm getting enough layers here. I'm going to have to go all the way to the back and then come back from the back to the front. Tippy's being bad back there. Tippy, stop it. Oh dear, caught on my thingamabob again. I think there's lots of people who don't do canning, so wouldn't have one either. You are never a pest. What? Any lid. I'm using a canning lid, but a lid off the spaghetti sauce is about the same size as this. The only reason I'm using this is because I do can occasionally, and I have a bunch of these, and I thought that was either the perfect size, either the inside diameter or the outside. If all you have is a spaghetti jar lid, use that. Yep, anything that makes a circle, but try to keep it all about in the same size so we can do a vase of flowers. Let me fuss at this cat. Would you stop? Go on. I changed your water and gave you fresh food before I even came on live. That one tries to dictate everything I do. He is so demanding. That feline is. Bernie's wanting in. Hang on just a minute, you guys. Hang on. Come on. Hey. sometimes she just is too stupid. She's gone off up toward the other end of the yard. I don't have shoes on, and I'm not going to go chase her. She's driving me crazy. Hi, Barbara Clark. So there you go, Lala. You have a lid. I like to get the old mason jars that are blue. Greg has some that he actually bought at, I think, Walmart, some blue jars that he likes to put salsa in for some reason. I said, why do you want to make your salsa look blue? All right, I'm back where I can go in and out without having to all right, I'm going to end at the back, and then I'll grab the next petal. And this is building up nice here. I'm going to make this just a little bit shorter by snipping off the end. And don't worry if they're like evenly spaced. No flower petals are exactly like another flower, so you don't have to worry about, oh, that one's not the same distance from this or that. There's nothing in nature that's that. There's always some changes. Yes, a scrappy flower. If you wanted to make your petals all different colors, you could. So what we would be doing is a scrappy flower swap. If anybody's interested, leave a comment below if you'd like to swap flowers. And that way I can kind of know how many I need to make. I may have sewed that one on upside down because I think the other side is brighter, but you know what? I'm not worried about it. Just going to keep going. Sometimes it's okay to turn your fabric over and use the wrong side of it. If something is too bright, just use it on the back side instead. It's always lighter on the back. I knew a Scrappy Flowers would be right up Janet Nash's alley. She does some awesome flowers. I really should have gone grocery shopping today, but I am just not feeling going to the store today. And it's Wednesday, so I might get Scott to see if he'd like to go out for Chinese instead of getting carry out or having it delivered. That gets pricey, having food delivered. And you can tell this is an old pillowcase I'm working on because it's stretched out. It's old. It's, yeah. All right. I'm going to end at the back again and put on my next petal, which needs to be the yellowy color. Ouch. About to hit my glass and turn my tea over. Let's see how far I can get with this. Yeah, my blooming hands are sore from sewing through denim. Yes. Yes, they'd be real inexpensive to mail. And you'd only have to mail, to whoever you want to swap with. However many people you want to swap with, that would be up to you. But you could put this in a large envelope. And as long as you don't add a ton to it, I was going to mention if you wanted, you could add beads and things like that. But if you want to keep your postage down, you could just leave them kind of flat like this. I did use French knots on here. But if you wanted to just do just the basting running stitch to put it together so it's nice and flat and there's no dimension to it, that would weigh less. And then whoever gets it could add beads if they wanted to. I was surprised at, I thought the magazines I was sending to Ruth, because I ended up with duplicates. Some magazines I had picked up thrifting, some I had accidentally bought 2 copies. I sent a couple magazines to Ruth and they let me mail it because it was all like paperwork type things, magazine. They only charged me for a large envelope instead of a package. So I didn't even have to fill in a custom form, which I thought was nice for a change. I'm hoping I can get to the bottom of this petal with this little bit of thread. Ow, stabbed myself. That wasn't very nice. All right, I'm going to flip it over here and tie it off to one of these other stitches. Okay, and I'll get another little piece of thread and we'll do this one. Oops. It goes here. And I'm going to cut that off because it's a little long. Because I want to keep the, the center kind of toward the center of the flower. Gonna lurk. Buddy wants afternoon. Okay. Oh, wants attention. Okay. We have been exhausted all week, but we are doing better. It's been a real struggle for Scott. We were supposed to, because we called off from his mom on Sunday. We told her we'd be there Monday, but then after Scott ate dinner, he fell asleep in the recliner. So I said, we've got to go on Tuesday. And then we got over there and she'd been playing canasta all day. And she said, who's at the door when we rang? And she was happy to see us, but she didn't like the idea that she had to come downstairs. I said, well, we can go around back and let ourselves in. No, I'm coming down. You're just going to have to wait. And like, we can wait. Don't hurry. And she came to the door and she told us, once we all got sat at our kitchen table, she said, I think I'm going to have to give up canasta. She said, I can't sit for 4 or 5 hours. And she said, I'm just so tired. And so I don't know. She's talking about she doesn't want to go see the doctor as often as he wants her to come in. And getting ready to go places is getting to be too much. It's just, to get, cleaned up and dressed and all. It's getting to be too much. I said, well, you got to do what what's right for you. Hey, stop being a butthead. Tippy. This is another one of those small projects you could take with you places and work on. I'm open to sending a flower to anybody that sends me a flower. So if you send me a flower, I'll send you a flower. If too many come in all at once, it might take me a little bit of time to get them back out, but I'd get them back out if anybody's interested at all. And then you'd have to let everybody else know, if you're interested in swapping with more than just me. I was just thinking it would be a fun way to swap flowers, and then you could make a wall hanging with your flowers in a vase. And we could work on that together once we all, got the flowers in. But we'll talk about it in the chat below the video. How about that? In the comments section. Let's chat about it in the comments. All right, I'm going to leave that there. And now we need to do the brown one. And see why it doesn't matter if you get too far, because the next one covers it up. All right, and we're going to stitch this one on, and we've got one more petal. And then I will probably switch thread colors for the center of the flower. And there's Janet Baum. Teresa, does the shot hurt? Dumb question. This kind of flowers, scrappy flowers, fabrics flowers, something that can be sewn onto a little wall hanging. It could be, it will end up being a community project that we could end up having a piece of art that we could like hang in our house. And I just think it would be really fun to put it together. If you didn't want to do a vase with your flowers, you could do a wreath. Just draw a circle around a pie pan or a whatever and just stitch your flowers around it. And you could make leaves to add to it. There's so many ways to use these little scrappy fabric flowers. You could turn them all into brooches if you wanted to, or a necklace, or a pin. There's Deb. Oh my God, I'm going to throw this cat out on the porch in about 2 seconds. He's ripping at bags and stuff behind me. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but he knows it irritates me. He's got me trained. He said, I'm going to just irritate her and just keep irritating her until she does something for me. But I've already given him fresh food, fresh water. I don't know what he wants. I'm trying to hurry just in case the storm moves in and knocks my power out. There was a huge tree came down at one end of the street, and at the top end of the street Saturday night, the power, we call them pole pigs that are on the pole, the one that's at the top of the street, their tree limbs knocked one of the things that the power jumps across. I can't remember what they're called. Scott, if Scott was here, he'd like correct me and tell me what it is. But they just have to push it up where it makes the connection again. It's a real easy fix if you have one of those poles that you can shove it up, but you can get electrocuted. So I just let the electric people fix that. I don't have one of those fancy poles. Keep me from getting electrocuted. And they got around to us eventually. It went off about 9:30 Saturday night, and I was thinking, oh, if we don't get power, we're not going to be able to work on the floors tomorrow. And they didn't get around to us until about 9:30. So I hadn't had power long when I was jumped into Deb and is it Lisa? I can't remember. My brain with names is not good. Yeah, I was in the quilting chat over there for a little bit. But then it came on and we made coffee. Thank God for coffee. And we got that side of the room floored, but we've got to repair walls. When they were ripped, the people we had in, they damaged some of the walls. So we got to fix some of the damages because Scott wants it all to be perfect. So he's going to fix all the places that they dinged, and then I dinged some places, and I'm like, just pretend that I didn't do it. Just pretend that those guys did it. Blame it all on them. He'll get it perfect, and then I will paint. I seem to do all of the painting. He did paint the hall bathroom, but that needs a touch up where he did the put the tiles up and stuff, because he painted it before because he wanted to see what the paint was going to look like. The vivid violet is in the bathroom. It's a deep dark purple, and everybody's like, what, purple with teal? But it's very oceany feeling in there. I'm going to paint the entry a beautiful red. And then we're going to do the same jasper green that we have on the fireplace in here. We're going to use it as the end wall colors in that long room to kind of draw the ends of the room together visually. We're almost to the end of the petals. And then we just got to sew the center in. All right, I'm just going to end that because the center will cover it, and see what the inside of the back looks like. It all looks really cool. There's 1, 2, and pull this up, and boom, you have a knot. All right, now I'm going to put that in the center. So let me see what I've got in thread. Behave. Go lay down somewhere. See what I've got in here. This almost looks like a sunflower. There's Allie K. Yes, I have used Flonase, and now they've got me on a different nasal spray, and it's nasty, but the most important thing is don't sniff. Just spray it to the side of your nostril. They say don't sniff it because it'll just go up into your upper sinuses and fall into your mouth. And that's why it tastes so bad. If you just blow it up into your nose without inhaling, it won't get in your mouth quite so bad. And my problem that I have with my sinuses is that on the left side of my head, I don't have a sinus cavity. The sinus cavity on the left side of my forehead is the size of an English pea. And I think that's why I have hearing loss in my left ear, because I also have a narrow eustachian tube on that side, so my ear doesn't drain. And that's way more information than you guys ever wanted. Let's see. What color thread do we want to do? The center, and what do we want to do? On this one, I did the little stitches with a knot at the end. I don't remember what that's called. Carol can probably tell us. Don't remember. It just, I don't really have a dark pearl cotton. I might use this. Kind of a, oh, it's starting to thunder. Wish that dog would just come right to me. I don't need a lot of thread for this. I'm going to try one more time to get her to come in. I'm probably just going to put her in her crate because she's all over the place if I don't. Let me see if she's right out here. No, of course she's not. Give me just a second because I don't want her getting wet. you for just a little while. I'll let you out in a minute. Okay? I just went and scooped her up. She's out there looking confused. It's not bad once you get used to it. And we also have noticed that there are the over-the-counter allergy medicines. You have to rotate between them because they start not working. So we rotate between, what is it, Losartan and can't remember the other one, Zyrtec. There's another one. Starts with a C or an S. Can't remember. Of course, your sinus doctor knows all that. Yeah, Scott's on a new one because the Zyrtec he's been taking for years isn't working anymore. And Scott's had the sinus surgery and he's gone through the battery of shots. His sinuses were a wreck. All right, now what stitch do we want to do here? I think I'm going to start in the center. I can get the needle to go through all them layers. And let's see. I don't know what I want to do. I want it to be different than that one. Maybe I'll just go around in a spiral and just start doing a back stitch and just eyeball it. Your GP just prescribed it? Yeah. It really works, and it's like instant relief, but I'm on the other one that starts with an A, and it tastes awful. Blech. But it works really good, too. Maybe we'll go to Zesto's and for some fried chicken tonight. I just don't want to cook. I just don't want to spend a lot of money either. Most places are charging a fortune to go out to eat. I ought to just go down to the grocery store and get ingredients and make something. Another thing that's driving me nuts is I still don't have an oven. I don't know if I told everybody about this, but Scott ordered the heating element for the bottom of the oven. Well, it came in, but guess what? They sent us the heating element for a dishwasher. So he got on the phone with them and he said, did I order the wrong part? And they said, nope, we actually sent you the wrong thing. And Scott was like, well, I really need the right thing. So they, I believe, sent the right thing out. And they are sending a return authorization form and a label for the wrong thing. And they gave us a 10% discount on the part that we needed. So that was nice customer service for a change. But I've been without an oven, and I like to use my oven a lot. I use the oven a whole lot. And then Greg came in and he'd bought, I'm on a knot. No wonder it won't go. He brought in a pile of frozen pizzas. And I'm like, you don't have anywhere to bake those right now. He's like, oh man, I forgot. So now he's taking up space in my freezer with all these pizzas that he can't heat up. And I'm like, now I can't go grocery shopping because it's full of blooming pizzas. That's not far enough over. I'm feeling with my finger because I'm trying to go through so many layers. You can use fewer petals than I did, that's for sure. Because this one only had 7 petals on it, and this one has a lot more than that, 8. Well, it has one more than that, and it seems like it has a lot more. Maybe it's the weight of the fabric, because one of these is a batik that I'm using on this one. So I'm anxious for the part to come in, and I had ordered Scott a new miter cutting thing for his saw, and it came in, and it's kind of like happy belated birthday and happy early Father's Day. He was like, what? And I was like, surprise. So that came yesterday. So now he can do some fancy miter cutting. What on earth? That's a thread from the edge of it, because I had torn this pillowcase apart. Oh, man. You're just not going to be happy until you're caught on something. Oh, well, I'm just going to keep going. This is hard for me to see, this black fabric, for some reason. I think it's because I've been trying to stitch on 28 count Aida all morning. I'm going to tell Scott, hey, can we go to Harbor Freight? I need a magnifying lamp so I can do this cross stitch. That I just love this chart and I want to do it. And it took me hours to do just 2 petals because I can't see the threads to go, because you have to go over, instead of just a single thread, you go over 2 and 2. Oh, wow. I had forgotten how small. Hi, Safia. I was hoping to have enough time to do a different style of flower. Maybe we could do a different style of flower another day, just to show you guys some different flowers. And then when you're putting your whatever your project is together with your flowers, like this will be the flower, you could attach it and you could add leaves. You could add, just embroidered sticks, just do a branch and add flowers to it. Embroider a branch, or cut a branch out of fabric and stitch it down and then add the flowers. There's so many different ways you could put the flowers all together into one project. I'm still leaning toward doing a vase of flowers. Nobody's interested, I'll just make my own flowers. Please don't dig me. Callie will come up behind me, dig the chair, and then sink her nails right into either my butt or my back, and it drives me crazy. If you guys are scared about the storm, go hide under the bed. And see, that one's not perfect, and I am not going to back it out. I just want to get around this circle. These cats are distracting the daylights out of me. Let me show you what I've got, because I'm just stitching away. So you can't hardly see it either, because that red is blending. Red, brown, whatever this is. Burnt umber. I could probably close the curtain now that I've got the dog in, and that would improve the lighting, I think. Howard's listening. Oh, there he goes. He's headed for the bunker. See Janet's question above. Which medicine did Becky use that she found instant relief? Well, the Flonase or that other stuff that I'm using. Let me hang on. I'll show you. It's azelastine hydrochloride nasal spray. You can get it over the counter. Or we get it by prescription, so we can use our medical savings account. It's AZELASTINE. This stuff tastes horrible, just FYI, but it works so good if you're feeling really stuffed up. Trying to hurry, but I need to slow down. It's slow stitching. You're not supposed to hurry, right? It's getting really overcast and dark now. I'm loving how this flower's turning out. But I think a flower swap would be so much fun. I actually have a shadow box frame that I got at a thrift store that I could build my piece to fit in that shadow box. That would be really pretty. You could even skip the vase and just do like a flower meadow. You could embroider grasses and stuff and then just stick the flowers around. There comes the rain. Oh, it's pouring too. We've been getting Ann's Florida weather. We've been getting storms every afternoon or evening, and they've not been without high winds. That storm that came through Saturday night, we had 65-mile-an-hour winds. It got kind of scary. And Greg's friend Mary was over, and they were watching movies, and I went out and I said, you guys, they say for everybody to stay off the road. And then Mary got worried about her little dog, so she wanted to go home, but she wanted Greg to follow her. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So he followed her home, and then he came back because there's an area near where her place is that floods. And all I could think of is Greg's little car that's down to the ground was going to get flooded. And then he'd get stranded on the other side of town. All right, just a little bit more, and I'm going to call it done. Honey, you're fine. Callie, it's okay. You can stay right there by my feet. You don't have to dig me. She wants me to lay on the bed and comfort her. These cats aren't spoiled in the least. Not at all. Not at all. All right, I really wanted to show you the next step. Come on, one more. All right. All right, so that's what the back looks like. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. And tie that off. And then I'm going to take it out of the hoop. As long as this thing doesn't start going crazy saying there's a tornado warning, because that happens too. All right. Then what I did is I put it on a piece of batting. And what I did is I roughly cut around it. So I'm going to come around and just kind of cut. Don't cut into the flower petals, cut around them. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'll cut that away. See how I'm ending up with a little, if you use pinking shears, if you don't have pinking shears, you can just use your regular scissors. But cut it just slightly bigger than the actual petals so you have a little bit of white fabric that you can sew on. And again, you don't have to do your flowers exactly like this. You can mix it up. So there's that. And then I've got the batting. And I have scrap pieces of batting from different projects. If I can get this to turn out. And I'm just going to kind of cut this out. Doesn't have to be perfect because, again, we'll trim to it in a minute or two. And if you need to, you can pin this in place. With this being a little bit bigger flower, I'm going to get a pin. Just to hold it in place a little bit. And then I did a blanket stitch, and I just went through the white bit that's sticking out here to do my blanket stitch. And that's how I got my edging. And then I just trimmed the batting the same way I trimmed to the white fabric. And that's how I ended up with this with an edge around it. Hi, Dawn Boss. Hi. That is a good deal. Yeah, it is. It is. All right, getting insurance and having the right one. I'm so glad that Scott works for a company now, that he's working for an actual company, not through a temp service. Because working through a temp service, you are not offered even decent insurance through temp people. All right, so I'm thinking I might maybe I'll use some variegated that has kind of that green color in it around the edge of this one, just for something to bring it out. Wow, it's pouring. Just a pouring. I was thinking those zinnias that I had moved yesterday were looking sad. They're getting a nice drink now. As long as they don't get drowned, we'll be all right. Ooh, it's getting loud too. Can you guys hear the rain? You like the shadow box idea? I'm leaning toward that now myself. Do a piece, and then I could wrap it around the shadow box. You know, it's got like you could do like just it on a piece of fabric. You wouldn't even have to do a little quilt version at all if you didn't want to. You could do it on fabric and then mount it around that shadow box felt, because you know it has that kind of cushy back where you can pin things in place. Oh man, my hands are so sore. It's just not even funny. So I might put the whole swap idea in my Facebook group if anybody's interested, and we'll have a sign up there. And if you're not in that Facebook group, but you still want to participate, you can either join the Facebook group, or if you're not on Facebook, just let me know in the comments below. And there's Steph. I love it when we all say, hi again. All right. So I'm just going to come up any old where, and I'm going to start doing a blanket stitch. And I'm just going through the white fabric and only taking a little bit of the batting into account. Let me flip this other one over so you can see what the back looks like. See, you see little dots where I went. That's how much of the batting I caught. And the reason I'm not making huge stitches is I just want this to be an accent on the edge of the flower. Plus it holds my layers together. And then when you add it to your stitched piece, your flower garden, your vase of flowers, your wreath of flowers, however you want to do them, all you got to do is stitch around the flowers. You could use a color of thread that's used in the flowers. You could get a clear thread. They make clear thread that you could stitch them down with. You could glue them down since it's an art piece. If you wanted to just glue them down, I'm going to probably do some embroidered stems and things like that on my background piece and then put my flowers down. I just thought it would be a fun swap. Maybe next week we'll do a different type of flower. I like to do a sample so you can see what it's going to look like and then work on it with you. And so I'll do a sample of some other flowers. And then next Wednesday, we'll do a different flower. Maybe we'll do a tulip next week. And whatever flower you want to send, we're not going to assign the flower. You pick the flower you want to send to people or to a person or to multiple people. You just make a flower up, however, and you mail it. Because it really doesn't matter, because it's the flowers of the world come in all shapes and forms, just like people. So, what are the ads everybody's seeing today when you're watching YouTube? Are you seeing the same ads over and over? And are you flat sick of them like I am? I'll tell you the ones I'm sick of. Do you have stuck poop? I'm sick of that commercial. I'm sick of the combat pants with the guy doing naughty motions over his pants. I don't know why I get these ads, but I'm sick of them. I know Mary says she gets the bra ads all the time. But the girl talking about stuck poop. Oh my God, I'm so sick of that commercial. You get different ads. I wish I'd get some different ones. Some ads I don't mind, but some of them are just like, really? I'm just not that interested in it. I hear some little trees are starting to rustle. Oh, I love this variegated. It's pulling in that kind of green from the dots on the batik. Let me show you, see? Isn't that looking pretty? And then once I'm stitch around, I'll just trim again with the pinking shears, and it gives it such a pretty little edge. What's my time looking like? Oh, Lord, it's already 2:40. I have taken up way more time from y'all than I should have. Let's see here. Of course, mine may contain a cat hair or two, and I'm sorry about that. It's just how it is when you got cats. The rain finally chased even Tippy off. So I'm anxious for Scott to use his new toy, his new miter cutting thing for his saw that he got for late birthday, early Father's Day. I've never been real good at the whole Father's Day thing because I never had one growing up. And then a Mother's Day, I never really did anything for mothers because, yeah. So I'm not real good on those two holidays. So it's usually I've never really worked on it with Greg, so he's never been keen on either. So he doesn't get me anything for Mother's Day. He doesn't get anything for his dad for Father's Day. He's never been taught to, basically, because I didn't have any experience with it really. Oh, this is twisting, this variegated kind. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, I just looked up and the trees are really going back and forth out there. Glad I went out and got the dog. She wanted to go out at 1:30 this morning and she was just raising a ruckus in her crate. So I just put her out at 1:30 this morning so that I could go back to sleep. I bring her in and put her in her crate at night or she'd never rest. She just old dog pacing is what I call it. She just paces constantly. Oh, this is turning out really pretty. So do you guys want to do a different flower next week? I think that's what we'll do for the next couple weeks is some different flowers. And then we'll just have our flowers ready to go at the end of the month. And that'll be our mailing toward the end of the month. That'll give us plenty of time to get a bunch of flowers made up. If you want to do some different stitches on them, you know, lazy daisies or whatever, you choose the stitches you want to do. I'm just trying to get this blanket stitch. I think I've got just enough thread to get me around to the beginning. Uh-oh. I might have to see if I can straighten this out a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. Would crochet flowers be okay? Oh, yeah. Don't you guys think some crocheted flowers would be pretty too? We could do crocheted flowers. I'm just thinking a flower garden, and if we had a mixture, that could be interesting too. I think that'd be really pretty. I'll have to look up, see if I can find some patterns for some crocheted ones. I'm sure there's some out there. Or we could crochet bugs or, like dragonflies and butterflies and that kind of thing to add to it. That would be pretty too. I'm going to put that pin in with my floss so I'll have it. Oh my goodness. So close. Not sure I'm going to make it around with this little bit of floss. So there's my bag. See, I'm just catching just a little bit of the batting. We could do, I beg your pardon. I really did promise you a rose garden. But ours would be multiple flower garden. Oh my gosh. I keep thinking, maybe I'll make it. Maybe I'll make it. Oh, it's coming out so cute. Yeah, if we included crochet, that would take care of the people that crochet but don't necessarily stitch. And that would get more people, involved. And I think it would be pretty. It's all fabric art, you know, fiber art. We could just call it a fiber art flower swap. Let's do that. Fiber art flower swap. It would have to be fibers though. You can't switch into paper because it really does need to be fibers. At least in my mind. Okay, I'm going to take this to the back because I'm not going to make it around. And I'm just going to tie a knot here. Catch under that last stitch. Wrap it a couple times and pull it through. And I do leave a little bit of a tail that can be tucked under and hidden that way because I don't want that knot to come undone. All right, I need a little bit more to get around. This is a DMC 5 pearl cotton. We want to try to keep them flat for mailing purposes. If we could keep them flat, that would be good. I want to keep the cost down for everybody. Yours are 3-dimensional. I mean, it would be pretty, but if somebody's not using it, well, it really doesn't matter if you use your shadow box or if you're just going to use it on a wall hanging or whatever. I'm just concerned about the mailing costs, Goldie. That's what I'm thinking. Goldie Steph. How thick are they? I might have to pop over and have you show me. I mean, it wouldn't bother me to be dimensional. I just want to, for your sake, I'm trying to keep the cost down. If not, I'd say, go ahead, load it up. Because I have seen some beautiful Irish crocheted flowers that are very dimensional, that are very beautiful. But I'm going to leave that up to you. The dimension wouldn't bother me as far as adding it to a piece that I did. Wouldn't bother me in the least. I'm just concerned if you were making multiple ones to swap with several people, that it might get pricey postage-wise. So I'll leave that up to you. But again, the dimension wouldn't bother me. And everybody can feel free to add beads and sequins and that kind of thing to their piece as they're working on it, which is what I'm thinking of doing, is adding to the flower garden. Oh, I'm so close. Come on. I want to get this done. And I know Devin will be on here shortly. And I'm trying not to go into Devin's time. Let's see here. Doing something like this is really hard to do in an hour or less. I guess I need to check with my sister. I know my one sister is out grading AP reading tests out in Kansas City, so she's not available. But my other sister, the potter, I bet I bet she's throwing pots like a mad woman while she's off from teaching. That's what she does in the summer. All right, so on this last one, I'm just going to go under the first stitch and finish that off, and then go to the back of my material here. And then it's hard to see where you started stitching. All right, so let's tie this one off. So if you've got some fabric or fiber flowers, and you can even hide your tail in the batting by just sewing in the batting, and then the tail is hidden inside. Should have done that on the other one, but that's okay. Now I'm going to trim this, but any kind of fiber art type flowers, you feel free to do. I just want to make a fabric floral arrangement. Let's see. I want to clip this out a little bit right here. And I'm trying not to cut in my stitching. And I just want just a little bit of the batting sticking out because it gives it a little bit of dimension. Now, if you got one of these flowers and you want to cover that batting up, you could just add more stitching around and cover it up. I'm going to throw that little bit away. But anyway, this is the one I did for a sample, and that's using the measurement on the inside of a canning jar. So like here, see, that's that size. And then this is using the outside, and see how I'm outside it just a little bit, but only a little bit. And so you get just a slight variety. Yep, I took the pillowcase fabric like this, and I just used, for that one, I did like this. That one, I've mucked it up a little bit, but like that. And then on the bigger one, I did the outside of the ring. And again, if you don't have a canning jar lid, use the lid off, a cleaned lid from the spaghetti sauce, or a jelly jar, any kind of jar. So you get two different sizes from the same ring. So Devin's channel, she's Devin Rex. Can somebody put it's Yolande, is Devin, I can't remember all of her call letters or name. Pringles lids, that would be great too. That's a perfect size too. We want to keep them about the same size. Just that way you don't have a flower that ends up arriving that's like this big. It just won't fit with everything on. Oh, and Devin's not coming on until tonight at 7 my time. Okay. And Sophia's put Yolande, that's Devin. Her name is actually Yolande, but she's coming on at 7 Eastern tonight instead of at 3 o'clock. So that's good to know. So anyway, let me know if you're interested either in the comments below, or I'm going to set up a whole swap on my Facebook page. But if you're not on Facebook and you still want to participate, just leave a comment here. All right. And I'll write your name down. And that way I can let everybody know that, hey, such and such that's not on Facebook is also interested. It is Aunt Beck's Creations, which I can do. And you have to answer the questions. If you want to join my Facebook group, you have to answer the questions or you won't get clicked through. Janet and I won't click you through. without answering the membership questions. And they're just really simple things. Let's see. I'm getting so many notifications right at this very moment that it's crazy. So I'm hoping somebody's interested and will sign up. And we will do a swap, because I would just love to swap flowers with you guys. I don't know what size you'll get. I'm just going to make a bunch of flowers up, and then I will just pop a flower in. I'm not even going to let you pick a size. You'll just get a flower, either this one or some other one. But everybody would get a flower that signs up for me. All right. Basically, if you send me a flower, I'll send you a flower. All right. Barbara, you just do what you have time to do. If you've already signed yourself up for a bunch of stuff, I so get it. All right. And there's Ruth. Bye, Ruth. All right. I'll see some of y'all tomorrow. And I'm going to get busy making another flower here while I think about whether I really want to cook or go out. And take care, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for the thumbs up. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.